Hello tool users, thank you for watching today. Today is going to be a pretty exciting one, being that it's spring and people are starting to use garden tools and accessories and whatnot. Basically today we're going to be going over this multi-tool, which basically is like a weed eater head that accepts attachments, which actually include a weed eater. So if you're looking at shopping out a new weed eater for your yard, you might want to consider getting one of these attachment style ones, because you can get all these accessories with it, and they come in pretty handy when you got certain jobs to do in your yard. I don't know if you've seen my yard, but I've got all kinds of trees in it, and like this tree here is a peach tree that I've trimmed down, and you can see all the cutting I've done on it and whatnot. And I got driveways that need edging, weed eating to do. I got bushes. These are hedge trimmers. They're great for bushes. But anyhow, let's get a little bit more deep into it. First, I would like to discuss is any of these little 2-cycle engines. You're gonna want to run the correct fuel in it. Most of these are 50-to-1 mix. Make sure you check with your manufacturer. They sell this right here, generally at the, home stores and whatnot, like Lowe's and Home Depot. This is pre-mixed, so all you got to do is dump it in there. You see where it says ethanol free? This is the only type of fuel you're going to want to use in anything with a carburetor. You can get it at the gas station and mix it yourself with some oil. They sell ethanol free gas at the gas station. Well, some of them, not all of them have it, but most of your gas stations, when you go to buy fuel, are going to have what's called ethanol mixed in. It's 10%, and it's bad news for these little carbureted engines. What it is you have a little carburetor in here that has all kinds of fuel lines and stuff, primer bulbs. Well, that ethanol will get in there and will gum up all that stuff when it sits for a little bit. So if you don't use this tool for like a month or two, maybe in the winter, or you go a little bit longer, between cuts, you're going to have some issues with getting it started. If you use this non-ethanol fuel, you'll mostly avoid those issues altogether. So any kind of engine that you have that has a carburetor on it that's not fuel injected, make sure you're using non-ethanol fuel. It's pretty critical. Any kind of mowers, pressure washers, weed eaters, blowers, anything of that nature. That's probably the most important thing I can tell you. Make sure you get your mixed gas ratio correct too, according to the manufacturer. Most are 50-to-1. If you run straight gas in one of these mixed engines, you will blow up the motor and be buying another one. It's not cheap. It's a pretty expensive bad decision there, mistake rather. So anyhow, let's get on with it. So when you're starting these, first thing you're going to want to do is come here and make sure your stop switch is selected to on. And then you're going to want to come back here, prime this bulb a couple times. You'll want to come back here and set your choke up. And you'll pull it. I can't do it with one hand. You'll have to forgive me. I will not get this running in this video, but I'll walk through the starting procedure. But once it fires off, you're going to want to kind of slowly pull this lever back down to the run position, and then it'll idle. And that should be ready to go after that. You always want to make sure you prime it. You always want to start on choke right here. So this little lever's choke. You never want to run this thing on choke. It will lean out the engine and cause it to have engine problems. So you always want to use that run position. About once a year, take this cover off. If you're a homeowner, about once a year. If you're a commercial guy that's using this thing all the time, you're going to do this a lot more often. Take this cover off and replace the air filter inside. That's pretty critical as far as keeping the engine clean. So let's go back to this part right here, which is the good part. So this feature right here has a little spline in it. I don't know if you can see it or not. It's square. You can't really see it in this video, but trust me, it's there. So you'll put your attachment in, you know, whatever attachment you got. You'll just thread it in there and then clip it in, and it's ready to go. You gotta tighten the knob down so it'll latch right here. But we'll get onto these attachments now. So mainly these come with a weed eater attachment. You know, when you go to buy one, they have different kits that have different ones, but they'll generally come with this weed eater attachment, and sometimes the kits will come with an edger attachment too. So I don't know if you know what an edger does. Let's take it over here and I'll kind of give you a guide as to what it does. Got to get near my driveway. Just bear with me for a minute. So you can tell I haven't done mine in a while, not this year yet. But you see on the driveway where all the grass is up on it, this edger will come in and cut down right beside the driveway there to give you a nice clean looking edge in your grass. If you got really thick grass, it'll look real pretty. You can do it with a weed eater, but an edger blade that's metal lasts a lot longer and does it a lot better and makes it look a lot prettier. So that's kind of a nice little, you know, setup there as far as for a residential homeowner. You know, having the edger and the weed eater head will generally be enough to make your yard look real pretty. So, you know, here's the weed eater head. Now, another thing to be aware of when you're buying this kind of stuff is how do you feed new line to your weed eater head? You know, you got to take this thing all apart and put string in it that way, or you got one of these fancy ones that you can just look through here and line up air where you can see through it, run your string through it, you know, a 15-foot piece of string, and then just wind it up. That's called a speed feed head. They are amazing for, you know, not being a pain to load when you run out of string. Again, I'm using one hand. I can't really show you this stuff very well, but I can explain it. So now they also come with other things, like here is a blower attachment. Now it doesn't come with this little U-shaped pipe. I kind of rigged that up so I could clean out my gutters on my house. So what I do is I use this extension right here and put it on there, and put this thing on the end of the extension, and then I aim my weed eater head to the top of the gutters and it blows out my gutters. So I don't even have to get on a ladder or on the roof to do it. It's pretty handy. It's just something I came up with. They make ones for backpack blowers, you know, kits like that. But anyhow, so you can buy a blower attachment for it and blow off your driveway. It's not the strongest. A backpack blower is going to be a lot stronger, but it'll do it. You know, here's some hedge trimmers. I don't know if you know what these are for, but let's find something to show you what you would use it for, and you'll see. So you'll put this attachment on there, and it'll run these little scissors back and forth. When the scissors go back and forth, you see this bush right here? You can cut all these limbs of this bush. So it'll go through and it'll line it up. Any kind of hedges you got, azalea bushes, whatever. This is it. This is what you want for that. They make ones that articulate certain ways, so if you want to reach up high and, you know, get a certain kind of angle on it, you can. That's pretty useful. And then all right, we got one more attachment here, and this one's probably one of my favorite to use. This is a pole saw, also known as a power pruner, pruning saw, whatnot. I don't know if y'all have ever used the old style ones that you would reach up there and it would actually be a saw and you'd have to go back and forth and cut it. This hooks to your power unit and then just runs like a chainsaw, so you can reach up on a branch somewhere and you can go and you can just cut right through it. It's great for reaching up high and getting to branches you wouldn't be able to reach normally. So again, this is the benefits of having one of these units that can accept different attachments. It's a little bit more money up front for this, but not much. And the versatility it gives you is amazing. And in the long run, it's cheaper for a homeowner to get something like this instead of a dedicated machine for each different item that you would want to add later on. Some people have separate machines for every one of these. You know, some people will have a dedicated weed eater and a dedicated blower and a dedicated edger and a dedicated pole saw. That gets expensive fast. You're also dealing with a different engine for every one of these attachments. So when things go wrong, it starts, you know, costing more money. When things go wrong, you're not going to be able to use that tool at that particular time. Something to think about. Anyhow, I believe this about wraps it up. Again, just a friendly reminder, when you're using these little small two-stroke, you know, engines with carburetors, use non-ethanol mixed gas only. Make sure you mix your gas and make sure it's non-ethanol. That will give you years and years of reliable service doing that. All right, have a good day. Appreciate it.